All right. If Donald Trump wanted to blow up his own presidency, he is doing a hell of a job because really nothing says second term success like a collapsing approval rating, a flood response scandal in Texas, and of course, the Epstein case coming back from the dead to completely consume Trump's administration and critically divide MAGA. And it is the Epstein part of it is completely self-inflicted. We have new polling, and this is a very interesting poll that I encourage you really to look at in total. But there is a critical question here about Epstein that I want to show you. And I should have had it scrolled correctly before putting it up on the screen, but we are going to get to it, and it is going to be an incredible moment. Here it is. Do you think the government is covering up evidence it has about Jeffrey Epstein? 67% of American adults believe that, yes, the current government, Trump's administration, is covering up evidence it has about Jeffrey Epstein. And stunning, even among Republicans, 50% of Republicans believe Trump is covering up Epstein evidence. It's not just Democrats. 82% of Democrats believe there's a cover up. It's not just independents. 69% of independents believe there's a cover up. 50% of Republicans believe there's a cover up. And fascinatingly, 35% aren't sure. So to say it a different way, only 15% of Republicans believe there is not currently a cover up happening in the Trump administration about Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, and by the way, I shouldn't ignore the first question. Should the government release all of the documents? Everybody agrees. 75% of Republicans, 76% of independents, and 85% of Democrats believe the government should release all of the documents about Epstein. This is a time bomb, a ticking time bomb for Trump. What has Trump been saying when he gets asked about it? You're still asking about Epstein? Yes. People are still asking about the child sex trafficker Trump used to hang out with, and who a bunch of the people working for Trump promised once Trump is in office, you will finally get accountability. You will finally get transparency. The documents will come out and the arrests will begin. When the DOJ released this memo saying there's actually no list, there's no blackmail, there's no further evidence, there's not going to be any more arrest, a bunch of Trump's base has revolted. He promised them justice and he's giving them redactions. And even Joe Rogan, who's basically MAGA adjacent, he endorsed Trump. He said he voted for Trump. Even Rogan is saying, wait a second, who expects us to believe this? We were told there was all this stuff and suddenly there's nothing. Bondi herself said, we have thousands of videos, and she wrote a letter. We've got the letter from February 27th. I have hundreds of documents, and I believe the FBI has thousands more. The right wing doesn't know who to trust anymore, and that is on Trump. Now, meanwhile, if we zoom out, the presidency is rapidly collapsing. Trump's approval rating is down to 41%. He's got a minus 14 disapproval. This is the worst since the first days of the presidency. Among independents, he's down from 41 to 29. And even non-MAGA Republicans are very, very wobbly. And we are going to see later in today's show that Donald Trump is now attacking the stupid Republicans who were, quote, duped by the Epstein story, meaning they want the files released, meaning they want Trump to make good on his word and do the thing he promised them that he would do. So this is Trump's own doing. He and the people he chose to hire spent a long time elevating the Epstein narrative. They promised revelations. They put in Pam Bondi, who was supposedly going to release everything. And he could have said, we will protect no one. This child sex trafficking is so serious. This is post-partisan. There might be Democrats on the list. There might be Republicans on the list. We're going to release all of it. But he's not doing that to a degree because he's probably in the files. Not necessarily as a perpetrator, but certainly in the files because he was friends with Epstein. And so now the base thinks he's in on it. Half of Republicans believe that there's a cover up. And you can really only stoke the fire for so long before it gets big enough to engulf your own house. It is happening right now. He's digging the grave. He's got a shovel in one hand and, the Epstein memo in the other. And we're going to see how far this goes for MAGA. Yesterday, I did a Substack Live with Heather Cox Richardson, who's phenomenal. And she brought up that she believes this Epstein story is actually a major, major deal for American politics because of the critical inflection point at which we find ourselves. So check out the Substack Live at substack.davidpakman.com with Heather Cox Richardson. We'll take a quick break and be right back. For weeks now, discussions have focused on Trump's big, beautiful bill and its potential Medicaid cuts. However, a far more dangerous, overlooked provision in the bill exists. At ground.news/Pacman, you'll discover what MAGA lawmakers quietly included, a provision that could block federal judges from enforcing court orders unless a bond is posted. And if this passes, it could render Trump above the law. This is a critical detail. It's largely unknown, and it really exemplifies this flood the zone strategy of the Trump administration. Now, this is why ground news is essential. It really is the best way to uncover buried information by showing you not just the story, but its origins across the political spectrum. You can see bias ratings, credibility scores, coverage timelines, and their browser extension also will flag potential bias when you're on a news site, sort of guiding you to more reliable sources for fact checking. Ground News gives you a smarter and more reliable way to stay informed. I'm partnering with them to give you 40% off their unlimited Vantage plan, which makes it just $5 a month. Visit ground.news/Pacman, scan the QR code, or use the code Pacman in the app to start. The link is in the description.